It is 12:30. You are listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media with me, Mari Mukwanda. It's time for our hit list segment. On our hit list today, we are featuring Mohamed Suleman, a student, a fourth-year student at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. He is flying the institution's flag high on the global stage as he was selected for a prestigious Changemaker Scholarship in Geneva, Switzerland. He is joining me on the other side of the stream to tell us more. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Mohamed, and shukran for joining me.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Right, congratulations on your achievement. I mean, you have been one of 3 people globally selected for this prestigious Changemaker Scholarship. So, how did you feel when you were selected to represent South Africa and also when you were awarded the Changemaker Scholarship?
Thank you so much. I feel absolutely honored, and I'm deeply appreciative to have been selected for the scholarship because, as you've mentioned, that only 3 medical students globally were selected, and with me being one of them, I think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it's something that I will forever I will hold in high regard. I was part of the official youth delegation to the WHO, and to represent not only South Africa or even the African continent, but the medical youth voice globally. I think it's a moment to celebrate, to be proud of, and we must celebrate our small achievements because it's a motivation for us to actually achieve more, to strive for more. And with the scholarship and spending 2 weeks in Geneva at the WHO, I have certainly learned a lot. My understanding of global health has broadened, and to see how the debates are conducted in the global health arena, it was truly mesmerizing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take us back to that time, as a med student being at the WHO headquarters. It must have been huge. I mean, you're meeting all of these people, like the the director general, rather, and some other notable people.
No, absolutely. And what stood out for me was that the voice of the youth is truly heard. It is recognized, it is rewarded, it's appreciated. And I think we as youth must really step up, speak up, and be active in these issues of global health. I had an interesting discussion with the Director General. I also met with our Minister of Health. Um, and also, there were many other ministers of health of other countries, so of Canada, of Zimbabwe, of the Central African Republic. And they truly appreciate that youth are here to be active in global health issues. I was thanking the Director General, Dr. Tedros, for his leadership, for his guidance in such a difficult time of the pandemic, that the World Health Organization, being a technical agency on health that is influenced by politics, and you have to remain um, true to the facts and figures on the ground. Your decisions have to be guided by research and by science.
Mm-hmm. Right, now let's go back to your medical career. I mean, it's 4 years already, but you have received a lot of achievements and accolades. Which 2 awards were you given last year, and what did the work entail?
Last year, I was honored to be awarded the UKZN Best Student Innovator and Best Student Researcher by the university. So these awards are granted to a student or an early career researcher who has distinguished himself or herself in academic research and innovation. And I think it's a culmination of the work that I've been involved in since 2019, since I joined the MBCHP curriculum. And in 2019 itself, I was invited to the WHO with a colleague to do a presentation to antimicrobial resistance. It's an intervention that we had created. And since then, I've also been involved in numerous projects. Um, and so some of it are still ongoing with our academics, our scientists from UKZN. UKZN is home to some of the country's leading experts and in multiple disciplines of health. And to be working alongside, to be collaborating with these experts, it's truly an honor. I was also invited to numerous platforms to address the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy that we had experienced because because also last year when the vaccine distribution was being done to the educators, the, uh, this was partnership of the Department of Health and the Department of Education, and there was hesitancy to by the teachers for their vaccine. And I was called upon to do a presentation to speak to the community, to the teachers on the facts and figures. And this journey has been wonderful and quite interesting to see that in the health arena, how things unfold since the onset of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. All right. And do you think that the youth have an important role to play in health-related topics?
Absolutely. I think youth play a very unique role and an important one. I think that youth are able to bring new ideas to the table because young leaders, they are the future, they are the leaders of tomorrow. They are the ones that will be managing the systems and the policies that we adopt and implement today. And I think that to involve youth now is to empower youth. How can you bring a different angle to existing problems, to existing challenges in the system? And I think it's time that we include our youth who are the emerging young professionals so that when tomorrow comes and they have to take on these leadership roles, these responsibilities, then they are well accustomed to the system. They have that experience, or they can bring that experience that will ultimately be of great benefit to the community and to the people of South Africa. So we have to train our youth to be active, to be involved. And this is also in line with the World Health Organization, in that in 2018, they had released a statement to say that all member states, all countries must include youth in the important issues in all sectors, but here in particular, health. So it's quite fascinating that we as the young ones can be involved, um, that even at the highest level, we can be speaking, that we have a viewpoint, and we can openly discuss.
And I think there are a lot of youth out there who are ready to take on the responsibility of leaders, but they need to be given the platform. Now, what's your focus on health advocacy? Which areas do you believe need attention in the global health setting?
At the World Health Assembly, we as the youth delegation, we submitted a total of 10 statements to the WHO and to the member states. So these were on a range of topics, including climate change, planetary health, prevention of non-communicable diseases, resilient health systems, pandemic preparedness and response. And my particular focus for World Health Assembly was on human resources and the health workforce. Um, how so part of the discussions is how do we prevent the migration of our health workforce to other countries or to other continents? Because we often find that when we train our young professionals, they tend to migrate and to move abroad. And part of the discussions or the resolutions was to incentivize our health workforce locally. And surprisingly, the Minister of Health from Zimbabwe and from Central African Republic, they aired quite strong views on this, in that they were quite vocal, they're quite supportive of keeping our health workforce locally. And so these are just part of the discussions that were taking place. We also were discussing issues of health equity, because in the global health space, we can see that for universal health coverage to actually find an expression, we have to deal with health equity. How do we distribute our health resources in an equitable manner? And part of the discussion also was on the pandemic treaty, of which I have quite strong views, in that the pandemic treaty has to be adopted, it has to be accepted by member states. And quite interesting, at the same time, quite disappointing, that politics has already infiltrated that space, to be amending, to be making alterations to this document. But in the future, uh, it will be interesting to see how it will be unfolded.
Hmm. Yeah, we are looking forward to see that as well. Now, let's talk about the World Health Assembly. What makes up the agenda of the World Health Assembly? What are the core topics discussed?
Yeah. This is an agenda document, and you'll find it online on the website. It's a 9-page document that is actually decided on at the executive board meeting at the start of the year. So, the World Health Organization, they look at all issues that are relevant, that are pertinent in global health. And so, basically, all of these topics, they fall under four key pillars. These are four key pillars for the World Health Organization for this year. Pillar one speaks to 1 billion more people benefiting from universal health coverage. Pillar two, 1 billion more people better protected from health emergencies. Pillar three, it's 1 billion more people enjoying better health and well-being. And pillar four is, how can the WHO be more supportive to countries, that on a national level, what are the resources, what are the guidance that can be given? Now, each of these pillars, there are subsections. For example, the Global Action Plan for diabetes, for non-communicable diseases, for mental health, for obesity. How do we invest in TB research and innovation? But the big one for me, again, was the pandemic treaty on health equity. It's a highly political issue that some countries have already rejected. But in the broader context, all of these issues that are relevant, that are pertinent in the global health setting, on policies and systems for countries to deal with issues in their context.
Hmm. I think this is something that we all need to understand as people, because I don't think we have an idea of what actually goes on there. We just, like a prime example is with COVID-19. When COVID-19 was announced and the vaccines were announced, etc. People were debating on whether the World Health Organization should be making or taking such decisions, and we don't really know what actually happens at the World Health Assembly. So it is good to have some idea. Now, what is your plan of action now that you have been involved at the World Health Assembly? What will you do on the local level?
So on the local level, and this is the aim, because when you involved in these delegations, and to be involved with the WHO, you must ask yourself the question: what will I do when I come back home? What will you do at the local level? So I've already been engaging with the university, with the dean of the medical school. I will be creating small working groups of about 4 to 5 students each. And in these working groups, we will be tackling each agenda item of the World Health Assembly. So the aim here would be to empower, to instill a sense of responsibility in our students, that you, as the future healthcare professional, you are duty bound to take on these issues of health. And so each agenda item to educate ourselves on these policies and systems that are adopted um, on a national level. So I will be undertaking this project to be creating these uh, small working groups that will tackle each of the items on the agenda for the World Health Assembly. How can we how can we make an impact in the community? And ultimately, it's to educate, to be aware, to create awareness of the issues in the health sector, and to know what's the epidemiological profile in the context you are in. So these are just some of the initiatives that I will be embarking on soon.
Mm-hmm. Right. 2 weeks ago, we had a discussion about why are medical professionals leaving South Africa for better opportunities overseas. What are your thoughts on this, and what can the government do to motivate them to stay?
Yeah, so these were actually part of the discussions that we were engaging in that how do we keep our workforce to be here to be locally, because it can't be that you use that you use the education system and the resources here locally, but you want to move abroad. How can we keep our health workforce? I think that for one of the interventions is to incentivize our healthcare professionals to ensure that they give back to the community that they come from, in that this is home, we should remain locally. So, of course, one of the interventions is to localize, but to also see where are the challenges, what are the opportunities that you're looking for abroad that we cannot provide here uh, locally. And I think that in the past few years as well is the issue of the financing, because we have a lot of the medical interns, but they are not placed, they are not given a spot in the health system. That's partly due to the financing issues that we have at the government. So I think that as the government, we have to find ways, or they have to find ways to redistribute funds or to redirect funds to the health sector so that we can finance our newly qualified interns and the healthcare professionals throughout the health sector, be it in the pharmacy field, in optometry, and all of these disciplines. So the financing issue is one, the incentivizing, but also to engage. What are the challenges that that our newly qualified doctors are facing, and accordingly we can address them.
Mm-hmm. Right, and going forward, what is your advice to our viewers, our listeners, potential med students, potential change maker scholarship receivers?
My advice would be to be passionate about what you do. When you identify something that you want to pursue, be passionate, be persistent, be perseverant. Um, in fact, in an interview just yesterday, I was asked a similar question, and I shared with them a formula that I had created. And it was actually stimulated by a conversation I had with Professor Salim Abdul Karim back in 2019 March, and I call it CP3 or CP cubed. It's an acronym. C stands for curiosity, P1 passion, P2 persistence, P3 perseverance. All these elements, you'll find that they are linked to each other. So when you are curious, you tend to ask questions all the time. You tend to ask the right questions at the right time if you are passionate. If you are persistent, you will search and find answers for those questions. You will not be defocused. And if you persevere, P3, if you persevere, you will surely find answers to those questions, even if they are not there. So I think my advice would be, when you set a goal, be clear, because clarity is power. Be clear as to what you want to achieve and try to apply this formula. I think in the end, you will ultimately achieve your goal, your aspirations, your desire. And ultimately, it's to make an impact for you personally, but also for the community that you come from.
Mhm. All right, Mohammed, shukran so much for your time. We wish you well in your future endeavors, and I hope you continue being a change maker, not only in South Africa, but on the global platform as well. And have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much.
Right, Mohammed Hussein Suleman, who represented South Africa at the World Health Organization headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, taking us through his experience. It is 12:51. You're listening to the Mid Morning Talk on Salam Media. Stay with us.